Hello everyone and welcome to the January edition of Onward Lebanon, a show airing monthly here on Lebanon Channel 6. I'm your host Robert Buskirk and I serve the Lebanon community as the Superintendent of Lebanon City School District. Onward Lebanon is designed to provide viewers with an insight into the Lebanon schools, its people, its students, and its programming. Joining me today is Keith Pantling, Athletic Director for Lebanon High School. Keith is halfway through his first year in that role. He'll be giving us an update on winter athletics season and talking about the upcoming spring sports, including the first year of boys and girls lacrosse. A quick reminder that parents and students are still expected to perform daily screening for COVID symptoms before coming to school. If your child has a fever of 100, loss of taste or smell, headache, sore throat, cough, or digestive issues, they should remain at home until these symptoms subside. In addition, if anyone in your immediate household has received a COVID test and is waiting results, your student should not come to school until they have received the test results. We've added this added layer of caution to further protect the health and safety of our students and staff. Once again, I would like to thank all our families as we continue to work together to keep our schools open. Well, Mr. Pantling, welcome to Onward Lebanon. I believe this is your second appearance on the show.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Happy to be here.
Good. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you're about halfway through the first year as athletic director. How's it been coming into this new position in the new district in the middle of this pandemic where you are facing challenges, I would imagine, like you've never faced before?
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. I think the hardest part is really getting integrated into the community. Without fans and families in the crowd and getting to meet everybody. Students not all attending school and attending virtually. So what I typically would want to do is really integrate myself with the community and the spirit of Lebanon. Obviously that's been turned upside down because of the pandemic. So that's certainly been interesting. And then just prioritizing and getting to know our coaches and what we need to do and next steps to continuing to improve programming obviously has been put on the back burner as we just try to navigate the pandemic and get these seasons in for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. We survived the fall season,
Yep.
And I think for the most part successful in the fact that the kids got all the games in, and especially those seniors were able to compete. I know last year the spring season was canceled, but we got all of our fall sports in, so I call that a success. So as we move into the winter sports season, give us kind of an update on how the sports season is going.
I've been incredibly impressed across the board. We have, if you look at the All Sports Trophy for the conference coming out of the fall, we were in third place. So we had obviously a great fall if you judge it by that from a competitive standpoint. But looking at our winter sports, our boys and girls basketball are in the top two in the conference. I believe the boys are now 11-2 and the girls varsity is 10-3. Our wrestling has beat multiple ECC teams in dual format. Our swim programs are doing great. Bowling, boys and girls are both in the top two in the conference. So this next few weeks is going to be really awesome as they continue competing and on their way into the postseason, but competing for conference championships is really cool. So something to keep your eye on is our chase for that all-conference trophy, which I think is a really cool thing. As we head into the spring, it may come down to a few sports there, but just proud of everybody and what's going on in the winter, especially with the pandemic, as you mentioned, and getting the opportunity to play for these kids.
That would be really cool to go into a new conference
Right.
and take the all-sports trophy right off the back. So speaks a lot about our kids and our coaches. Well, speaking from experience from my own daughter, I know she's missed some games due to quarantines by her team and by other teams. But our junior high athletic director, Heidi Calvert, she's done a really good job of rescheduling. How's that gone at the high school level?
It's gone well. We're running into a little bit of an issue with the winter because we're running out of time to reschedule. So I think one of the most difficult things is that we are interscholastic athletics. So while a lot of times we can control, what we do as a district, because we're involved every week with our programs going to other schools, that creates a lot of challenges because they may have different policies in place, they may have different ticketing formats. So it's been good with the new conference having such a close-knit group of ADs to manage through all that. One of the things we're struggling with now is with those postponements and running into the end of the winter season is fitting all those games in a healthy manner. So while we want to get a full slate of games or competitions in, we're running into now where, well, how many can they do in a single week? So, and then which ones are most important? Some teams may not have an opportunity like we do for a conference championship. So which games are more important to reschedule and which aren't? So there's a lot of dynamics. Luckily, we're in a great conference with great leadership, and we're kind of navigating those and seeing what we can do in the best interest of the kids. But it's certainly interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a good word for it. I know that each week and each day when we go to games, the ticketing system's different for each school. The capacity at the gyms is different. So it's just different rules every day, and you've done a fantastic job really making sure that parents can get there when they're allowed. So thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
So as we end we're starting to get close to the end of that winter season, like you said. In the fall, the OHSAA completely changed the format of the football playoff system. Do you see any changes going into the winter tournament season, that there are going to be changes?
Well, knock on wood, there's been no indication of that right now. The major changes is going to be the amount of venues and the number of teams, just obviously spacing everything out. So you look at something like basketball, they may do the first round at home sites, so they have the ability to manage your own crowds and things like that. You look at something like wrestling, where we host the sectional tournament. It's going to be moved to 2 sessions with the lower weights and the heavier weights split throughout a Saturday. Something like swimming, we have ECCs coming up this Saturday. It's going to be at 3 venues. You're going to see similar things like that for the postseason, where there's just going to be more segments of that tournament happening at the same time simultaneously with live streams and all that fun stuff to get the tournaments in. So logistically, there's a lot going on to make things happen, but I don't think the tournaments are going to be affected in terms of the kids being able to compete and move on into the postseason, which is awesome.
That is good. Yes, definitely some creative thinking to make sure everybody has a chance to get these tournaments in, but you guys, again, have done a great job making sure they can continue. Well, we do have some time to go into the winter season, but before you know it, spring sports are going to be starting. I've seen baseball and softball, taking advantage of the batting cages, getting some conditioning in already. So that's an exciting thing. Do you see any major changes coming to the spring sports season due to the COVID restrictions?
We haven't quite gotten those updates from the district and the state yet. The one thing we have started thinking about is how capacities will work for baseball and softball. I assuming it's going to kind of be bring a lawn chair. It's hard to do those as ticketed events and restrict capacity, but some of those guidelines we'll have to figure out. Obviously, lacrosse will probably operate similar to soccer and football did with capacity restrictions. So track and field, you're going to see a lot like we have with cross country and swimming, where they're smaller events, where they're instead of a huge invitational with 20 teams, it's going to be your quads and your tri meets until you get to the postseason events. So just kind of waiting and navigating those schedules and seeing what we can do. But our coaches are on top of things as we iron out schedules.
Great. Well, you mentioned this a little bit, and we do have one major change for Lebanon, that boys and girls lacrosse will finally be a school-sponsored sport, and that's the first time for Lebanon High School. I know it's been highly anticipated by families in the community for quite a while, so that's exciting news. Tell us what that means for our student athletes, and how is it different than it was past years when it was a club sport?
Sure. Well, I can't really speak to what it was like for them prior to, because I wasn't here, but I can assure you they'll be treated like every other program. We've already talked about the locker room situation and getting the fields painted. The boosters are now engaged with them and helping them out with some new uniforms. So things are ramping up for them. I've met with the coaches on multiple occasions to see what we can do, how we can help, with some funding for things they need to get up and running. And compete at a very high level. So the coaches have done a great job, and I think the integration has gone pretty smoothly. It seems they were treated pretty darn good prior to being fully integrated, but now that they're sanctioned, I think the benefits of the boosters helping them and our teams supporting them and all of that is something that's going to be really good.
Yeah, I know last year we had planned to really get them on board and do a lot of things with them, and then it ended up being canceled for the season, which was really unfortunate. You talked about the coaches. The coaching staffs are all in place for lacrosse teams?
Yeah, so our club coaches are going to continue on as the coaches now that they're a district sanctioned sport. Give them an opportunity to move this thing as they've worked hard to get us to where we are. So Coach Snoznik with the girls and Joe Cornley is coaching the boys, and their staffs are together and prepping and getting ready to go. So we have a lot of meetings just talking about what's best in terms of scheduling and navigating COVID and doing this thing the right way just to optimize the experience for the kids. So they're excited to get started, and we're excited to support them.
Yeah. I have one daughter in the youth program for lacrosse, and it's a new experience for me, but I do know the kids love it, and that's a very exciting thing for Lebanon High School. So, since we have moved to the ECC from the GWalk, this was something that was, the GWalk did not recognize lacrosse as a sport, that it's not part of their league. Will it be part of the league for the ECC?
Yeah, so the ECC we have it'll be 9 boys teams. So Winton Woods, Lebanon, and Little Miami all have boys teams. The only one without a boys team is West Claremont. And then on the girls' side, there are 8 teams. Winton Woods and West Claremont will not have teams. So it is recognized, and we have full conference schedules, and it should be good. The east side of Cincinnati has played some good lacrosse, so it'll be interesting to see where we kind of fall in year one and give us something to shoot for.
Yeah, that's exciting. I know the club programs have had a lot of success, so it'll be interesting to see them moving into the varsity competition. That is exciting. Well, that is, like I said, is very exciting. Mr. Pantling, I want to thank you for joining me today. Give us an update on the Lebanon Athletic Program. I also want to thank you for all you've done this year with our student athletes. I know this school year has been difficult and frustrating, but the bottom line is that you and the coaches have done a fantastic job giving our students athletes the opportunity to compete, and at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So again, I want to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that, and again, thank you to the community for supporting and understanding the restrictions that have to be in place, and the parents for their appreciation of what we're doing, and obviously our administration and district office for their support and allowing us to keep things rolling and make this happen. Yeah. So thank you.
Hopefully sooner than later we'll be able to get those gyms packed and those bleachers packed.
Just like that picture behind you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Those are some fun times, and I see that coming in the future. So great. Well, thank you for watching Onward Lebanon. This airs monthly on Channel 6. And again, I want to thank Keith Pantling for joining us today. I wish him the very best of luck the rest of the school year. To learn more about the Lebanon City School District, follow us on Facebook at Lebanon City Schools, or check out our website at LebanonCitySchools.org. This concludes our show for the month. I thank you again, and go Warriors.